We'd like to welcome you to tonight's Finance Committee meeting for September 11th, 2023. We're going to stand at this time for our invocation, but as we stand, let us not forget to remember that this is 9/11, so if we can at this time pause for a moment of silence in memory of those who lost their lives on 9/11. Shall we pray? Dear Lord, we come once again just thanking you for the gift of another day. Thank you for all your blessings that you've restored upon us. Bless this community as our hearts are heavy. We have young people who are dying in our community. Just ask that you just remember their families, remember all the young people who are in school and are dealing with this and many other type of tragedies and challenges that they face in their life. Ask that you would just look upon our city council tonight as we come together. Let all that we do be in your will and in your way. These are many of the blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Flag salute. Attention. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Finance Committee agenda item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Finance Committee minutes of August 14th, 2023, excuse me, or take other necessary action.
Reviewing the minutes, are there any corrections or additions to our minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve our minutes. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell,
Yes.
Perlin Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos. Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 1 passes. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments August 5th, 2023 through September 1, 2023, or take other necessary action.
Do we have a report from the purchasing committee?
The purchasing committee did meet this evening, and we have moved for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second that we approve our claims. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Perlin Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 2 passes. Item number 3, please.
Consider approval of ordinance number 4205A for a franchise agreement with Cox Communications to provide web-based video services in the city of Muskogee to its commercial customers or take other necessary action.
Ms. Bodenhammer?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This is an ordinance that will allow Coxcom to provide video services to existing business customers. This is not for residential at this time or any kind of expansion. It's just an expansion of services. For instance, hotels that get Coxcom video or communication services will now be able to have videos at their conferences, that type of a thing. So it's just an expansion of their current services to business customers, existing business customers.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Bodenhammer?
Move for approval.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Hold on. The city clerk's asking, do we have a citizen signed up to speak on this
I'm
item?
sorry. Got buried in my paperwork. Ms. Marsha Wiseman?
Yeah, I signed up for general comments, depending on how this item passed or didn't pass, so I didn't sign up specifically for the agenda item. I signed up in general comments, waiting to see how. Did we do general comments for?
We do general comments after our Public Works meeting, which is our second meeting. So if you'd like to defer until then, is that acceptable to the city attorney? And
Yes.
does that meet
Okay.
all our requirements? Okay.
All right. Would it be general comments after this agenda or Public Works?
It would be after Public Works.
Yes. All right. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Perlin Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 3 passes. Item number 4, please.
Consider approval for the city manager to negotiate and execute an agreement with Tiger Natural Gas as a third-party provider for gas utility services for the city of Muskogee, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Reed?
So Mr. Reed is not feeling well tonight, and so I'm going to address this a little bit. This is an agreement. It's something that we do typically to reduce our risk for gas utility services and prices. It lets us lock in a price over time instead of having to deal with a fluctuating cost. We are a large natural gas user, especially at some of our treatment plants, and so we do want to do this. It is something that we have done in the past, and we do recommend approval. Purchasing committee also reviewed this and voted to approve. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we do recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Perlin Boyotti Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 4 passes. Item number 5, please.
Consider approval of final payment to Roscon LLC in the amount of $137,848.14 for Hatbox Site Improvements, project number 2022030, or take other necessary action.
Anyone from Parks?
I believe Mr. Reeves is going to address this on behalf of Parks, as he was, as our project manager,
All right.
helped supervise this project. So thank you, Mr. Reeves.
This project was to improve the Hatbox Event Center and the adjacent animal livestock barn. ADA compliant parking spaces were new. 6 new OG&E light poles were added. Bollards were added to protect equipment adjacent to the project. 200-foot by 80-foot parking area was added between the livestock barn and the event center. 20-foot by 300-foot super sidewalk was added adjacent to the parking area with pedestrian and animal bridges leading into the livestock barn. Additional protection for critical equipment was added. A trickle channel was added with riprap and concrete foundational improvements to the west side of the livestock barn. The foundation was compromised at the livestock barn, so we did add a lot of concrete underneath it, and the ramps on the north side of the livestock barn were also improved. So the engineer on record did approve the project, and staff does recommend approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Reeves?
Move for approval.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Perlin Boyotti Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 5 passes. Item number 6, please.
Discuss and consider approval for submission of a letter of intent to the Opioid Abatement Board to be submitted by City Manager Mike Miller for the Political Subdivisions Opioid Abatement Grants Act in order to be eligible to receive funding from the State Opioid Settlement Fund or take other necessary action.
Mr. Miller?
Yes, as the council is familiar with, the city has been involved in opioid lawsuit settlements. In this particular case, the state also has a fund that allows for grants from the state's share of those opioid settlement funds. We're working with police and other first responders. Mr. Teehee is here, Chief Teehee, to respond as well. This letter of intent just says we intend to apply for a grant. You don't have to identify exactly what for. At this point, they're just asking the communities that are interested in being a part of that settlement and grant fund submit the letter. Chief Teehee, if you'd like to add.
Yeah, basically, the reason we can't be any more specific is because we have no idea what the range of money would be, or if we would. I mean, obviously we qualify, but it could range anywhere from a few thousand to all the way up from there. So. We're focusing on probably the equipment area, which would allow us to buy computers and things which we could tie into helping officers with regards to opioid addictions. But right now it's just a letter of intent to put in for something, and then we'd find out later on how much that would be.
Thank you.
That's good. Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Perlin Boyotti Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous. Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 6 passes. Item number 7, please.
Consider approval of City Council Policy 1-13, Matching Grant Fund, in order to provide formal structure, policy, and procedures for use of matching grant funds within the City of Muskogee budget, or take other necessary action.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes, this is something that I've discussed informally. We've had a matching grant fund since fiscal year 2018. It was a good idea that we started to make us more competitive for state and federal grants because we wanted to encourage departments to reach outside of their budgetary comfort zone to apply for grants. If they had to figure out how to cut their own budget to apply for a grant, they might not apply. So this was really a way to encourage that, to try and make a local tax dollar turn into 1 or 2 or 3 federal tax dollars or state tax dollars, and bring that money to Muskogee. It's been very successful in that way, and so we were excited about it. Over time, we didn't really implement formal policies about that. And so in talking with the council, this is an adoption of a formal policy. It is in your packet, and it's very, very simple policy. It says only use for state and federal grants, not for foundation money. We're not trying to match city money with city money. We're trying to bring in new money to the community. The grant match requests do have to come before city council. It's not discretionary to the city manager. If a grant match is awarded, it comes to the council, which is again how it has been done in the past. We have grant match partner entities, and those are listed, and we have a limit proposed for those. Because that was part of the discussion that we've had. And then just a formality of that those requests come in through the Office of City Manager, either from our partners or from staff to be considered for this fund. So this is just codifying what we do with some changes. And we do want to have discussion. We do feel like it's important to have a formal policy. And this is the first stab at that. It is reflective of conversations that we've had prior to this. So that being said, I believe we do have someone that's signed up to speak. And after that, we can have discussion and decide whether we would like to move for approval or not.
Thank you. Ms. Marsha Wiseman, you have 5 minutes to discuss this item. If you could, please state your name.
Marsha Wiseman, and I reside in Ward 2. And before I start, I wanted to congratulate the mayor and Councilor McGee on your NAACP awards. John Lewis is part of the reason I'm up here, who said it's been quiet too long. There comes a time when you have to say something. I am proud of the city's establishing this fund back in 2018. Certainly glad to see the policy, and obviously I didn't know everything I needed to know about it, or I might not have signed up to speak. I wanted to be sure that item B, that state and federal grants, also applied to D, to the partner entities. Just as a matter of, because I did some homework and want to share it now. Since the inception of the matching grant request, the Roxy Theater has received unanimously by you counselors $196,685 in matching grants from this fund for the Roxy Theater. That's only, and the highlight of 2 of those were we matched grants that they got from Neighbors Building Neighborhoods, also a nonprofit. So they got a grant from them, and we, the city, it's hard for me not to say we, the city council matched a grant from a nonprofit. So they doubled their money. So, and that $196,000 that they've gotten since fiscal year 18 is only a small portion of the $1.3 million council has approved to the Roxy Theater in general. $1.3 million since fiscal year 18, we have poured into the Roxy Theater, in my opinion, for very little return on the investment. So I do want to encourage you to approve this. If it was me writing it, I'm not sure I would have made the limit at 25. I may have made it lower, but at least there's a limit there, and it's for matching state and federal grants, so we won't be doling out this money in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wiseman. Any questions or discussion from council?
I just had a comment. Just wanted to make sure that all the partners understand that it will be no more fundraising to match with this grant. That's very important, that they need to know that, so no one get any surprises.
Comments?
Move for approval as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second that we approve this agenda item. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Perlin Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 7 passes. Item number 8.
Consider approval to apply for, and if awarded, accept the fiscal year 2023-2024 Oklahoma Emergency Management Performance Grant in the amount of $25,000 or take other necessary action.
Mr. Evans?
Speaking of grants, here's one right here. This is the Emergency Management Performance Grant that we've applied for every year since I've been in office and before that. It's nothing new to the city of Muskogee. This is a performance-based grant. There's certain benchmarks we have to meet throughout the year, such as going to the state conference, having local community meetings, going to the regional workshops. We have to host certain trainings and events throughout the year and report back to the state. And so as those are done each quarter, we'll report, and they'll reimburse us throughout the year, throughout their 4 quarters, which is based on the federal timeline. I'd be happy to answer any questions about the grant, but we do recommend approval.
Move for approval. I second it.
Have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Perlin Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 8 passes. Item number 9, please.
Consider approval to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract between the City of Muskogee and Hoff Associates Incorporated for the completion of the city's comprehensive plan update or take other necessary action.
Mr. King?
Good evening. So we are doing an update to our comprehensive plan. The last time we did a comprehensive plan update was in 2013. A comprehensive plan, the reminder, is a document that is used by a city to project growth and development, what the city should be doing for the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. And it's a good idea to update it about every 10 years because circumstances change, and sometimes it takes a second to look back and be like, see what we've done and what we could be doing better in the future based on an old plan. And so this update comes 10 years after our previous one. We put out an RFP in July and received 7 proposals. We established a steering committee comprised of representatives from various city boards and commissions and outside organizations to establish and review and select a firm. The committee reviewed the 7 proposals according to a rubric created using the information in the RFP, and those criteria and selections are included in your agenda package if you want to review those criteria. Of the 7, half was selected as having one of the best proposals, given on a budget of $200,000, which is a budgeted item for this plan. And at this time, the planning department has also met with half this afternoon about the scope of work. It does not look like we'll be increasing the scope of work, so there would be no need to ask for more funds later down the road. If anything, we wouldn't utilize the full $200,000. And at this time, staff recommends approval. I'll take any questions.
Move for approval.
Have a motion and a second to approve this agenda item.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we have the actual proposal?
The actual proposal is not attached, but I can provide it to council.
Mr. Chairman, I'm wondering if we should have time to review the proposal and send this to council without recommendations so that we've had an opportunity to be sure that everything's in there that we're looking for. I think if we just say yes, we need something in front of us to say, yes, we know we're agreeing to do this, this, and this, and these are the outcomes. I just think that's my comment. I think we need to refer it to council without recommendation so that we have an opportunity to review the proposal.
Okay, such action will take the withdrawal of the motions that's
I
on the
withdraw my motion.
second.
Yeah, and we can get that sent to you tonight via email, so.
Thank you.
that's, absolutely fine, and no problem at all.
Thank you.
Mr. King, will you see to that?
Yep, I will do that.
Thank you.
Ms. McGee, thank you.
You will, sir.
Tammy, did we have a second to next?
Yes, yes, Counselor Boyati. Boyati Craig.
Ms. Craig, would you like to withdraw your second?
Oh, yes, I withdraw.
Okay, so we do have a withdrawal, so we're gonna, if we take the mayor's action, I don't believe that would need to be voted on, does it?
No, it's just to be no action.
So we're gonna move this item forward with no action till the 25th, I believe.
Yeah, staff will bring it back, and we'll have the document to you ahead of time and part of your packet.
All right. So with that being the case, item number 9, that is our final item for our Finance Committee, and this meeting is adjourned.
With that, I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's Public Works Committee meeting for September 11th, 2023. Item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Public Works Committee minutes of August 14th, 2023, or take other necessary action.
Everyone's had a chance to review the minutes. Do we have any corrections or can entertain a motion?
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes?
Perlin Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 2, please.
Hold a public hearing and take action on the approval of ordinance 4208A to rezone property located at 3103 South Cherokee from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 Local Commercial, and if approved, authorize staff to revise the official zoning map of the city to reflect said change or take other necessary action.
At this time, we're going to open the public hearing. Mr. King?
So this property used to be a t-shirt shop a while back and hasn't been a shop for since then, but was overzoned residential. The owner of the property would like to sell it for commercial use. The property is located in an area that, according to our future land use map, is prime for commercial development. And so it does not conflict with the future land use map and the we decided to zone it C1 local commercial to encompass many different areas and aspects of potential uses that shouldn't need any other type of existential C2 or C3 zoning down in the future. This is for the purpose of sale, so there is not intended use for it at this time, but they wanted to zone it commercial so they can sell it as commercial land. The staff recommends approval of this rezone.
Thank you. We have no citizens signed up to speak regarding this agenda item, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Council discussion?
Move for approval.
Second it.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kell.
Yes.
Perlin Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 3, please.
Hold a public hearing and take action on the approval of ordinance 4200A to rezone property located at 500 South 32nd Street from C1 Local Commercial to C2 General Commercial, and if approved, authorize staff to revise the official zoning map of the city to reflect said change or take other necessary action.
At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Mr. King?
So this ordinance for rezone has been brought to us by Easy Pay Used Cars. At 500 South 32nd Street, they used to operate a used car dealership, and with the proposed expansion of Highway 69 by the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, it'll be utilizing a great percentage of their frontage, which was needed to sell cars, and so that cutback on the property will not allow them to have as many cars as they wanted to, but they wanted to remain in an economically viable position and continue to offer services to the city of Muskogee, and so they've asked to make the land eligible for reuse for a tire shop, which would require a rezone from local commercial to general commercial. And the Planning Commission did approve this item, and staff recommends approval of the ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. King. I have no citizens signed up to speak, so we'll close the public hearing. Any council discussion? We're going to entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 4, please.
Consider approval of resolution number 2956, declaring personal property presently in possession of the City of Muskogee located at 1440 South Cherokee Street, formerly known as the Agriculture Building, most recently used as the OSU Extension Office Building, as described further herein as surplus to the needs of the city, and authorize the city manager or his designee to offer for sale or dispose of the same, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Sweezy?
Good evening, Chairman and committee members. This building is part of the Fairgrounds complex and was one of the buildings that was donated to the city many years ago. It has recently been used by the OSU County Extension Office, and they vacated the facility in May due to the conditions getting dilapidated, and they had some roof issues. We checked on repairing it with our insurance company and looked at the cost of doing the roof and the interior repairs. We had an inspection and evaluation done by our building official and contractors, and we all agreed it was very costly to do the repairs, and it made more sense to surplus the building. We did attach some photos to your agenda packet so you could see the roof and the sunlight coming through the roof. We didn't have a need for it, and knowing it would be a 6-figure repair, we are recommending we surplus it and later this fiscal year demolish it. Happy to answer any questions, and staff recommends approval.
I have a quick comment, just for housekeeping matters. We've got declaring this as personal property presently in the possession of the city, but it should be real property.
We are not surplusing the land. We're keeping the real property. We're just disposing of the building.
Of the building on top of it.
And they have vacated, and we'll make sure all their contents are out.
Thank you.
They found a new space for the OSU group already.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
Move for approval.
I have a que-
Ms. McGee?
I just want, are we demolishing that building? Is that the
Yes.
plan?
We intend to, yes.
Thank you.
Have a motion and a second. Any further comment or questions? Roll call, please.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 5, please.
Discuss and consider approval of an amendment to the agreement with Main Street Muskogee for the administration of the Downtown Development Grant, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Sweezy?
Yes, this item is to amend the agreement, just the administration section of the grant administration agreement, which was passed in December by council. The Main Street Muskogee Group is ready to begin dispersing the funds for some of the grants, and staff would like to change the process to make the billing and invoicing more streamlined so that we're only paying Main Street for the business incentive grant and the facade grants, rather than paying every individual business owner that receives grant funding from Main Street, which would have to set them up in our system as vendors and do all the paperwork every single time. So this just makes it faster. So we pay Main Street and they will disperse the funds to the businesses. So mostly a housekeeping item, but I'm happy to answer any questions and recommend approval.
Move for approval?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
What is the process now? I'm sorry.
Right now, the agreement states that Main Street will notify us of each grant winner recipient, and then we will pay those recipients directly. This
Okay.
will just have the city paying Main Street after they send us a certification.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 6, please.
Consider approval of corrected resolution number 2954, which was previously listed as resolution number 2945 on the August 28, 2023 City Council agenda due to a Scribner's error.
Ms. Bonehammer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is simply housekeeping. I had put resolution number 2945 on the agenda the last time City Council was present, and this is to simply correct that resolution number to 2954, just so the resolution number matches what the agenda title was.
Move for approval.
Second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any further question? Roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 7, please.
Consider approval of City Council Policy 3-6-8, Wellness Policy, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Bonehammer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a simplified wellness policy that was necessary and required. Neighbors Building Neighborhood was helping Parks and Rec do an application for a grant, and they required a wellness policy. So we have prepared a simple policy in order to make that grant application successful. We are actually working on doing a full-blown wellness policy for the city with swim and fitness, and then Ms. Sweezy had gotten TSET involved, and we already had a meeting with them, so we'll end up expanding this wellness policy, but this was required for us to get the Parks and Rec grant submitted. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 8, please.
Consider approval of final payment to Cook Consulting LLC in the amount of $82,567.81 for the Canterbury Storm Sewer Replacement, project number 2022005, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Stewart?
Actually, Mr. Reeves is going to present this.
Mr. Reeves?
This project was to remove and replace the corrugated metal stormwater pipe running along Canterbury Lane and Goff Lane. It was approximately 600 feet long, but the corrugated metal pipe was almost 7 feet in diameter. So you can imagine the pipe running along the curb line, the amount of street we had to take out, and the amount of driveways we had to take out. We were very fortunate that the homeowners were patient with us, but it all turned out well. Like I said, there was 600 linear feet of corrugated galvanized steel pipe installed, 8 feet on Goff Lane and 417 feet on Canterbury Avenue. 3,000 square yards of concrete was poured for the street and the curb and the driveway repairs. This is a representation of the curb repairs and replacement. Concrete was extended to the center line of the roadway. I believe Patrick was inquisitive about that. We ran into some situations where the design engineer had expressed the interest to only do a couple of feet out into the street, and what we found that the street was deteriorating, so we went ahead and took it to the center line of the east lane, and turned out very well. We replaced the sod, the mailboxes, and 6 drives, or half of 6 drives were installed. The engineer of record did do an inspection on the project and approved it, and staff does recommend approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves.
Move for approval. Second it.
Yes, sir.
If I may, I know that the council has made stormwater an issue and a priority, and I want to just point this out. This is a stormwater repair project that we've made a priority and continue to do so. We've got others that we are doing in progress. This is one of the larger ones, and we just wanted to say we're doing that and trying to make that difference in our community as far as stormwater.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any further discussion or any questions? We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 9, please.
Consider approval of final payment to Darris Contractors LLC in the amount of $58,884.44 for raw water pump station, project number 2021009, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Reeves?
This was the Fort Gibson raw water pump station. The station was basically totally rehabbed. The engineer of record is here tonight, Steve Toller. It was a very complicated install. All the electrical distribution center was replaced. The variable frequency drives were added for both motors, which was very important. It takes off the stress on the motors, starting them up full speed, and so it makes your motors last a lot longer. We had a new overhead door and a man door installed with flood mitigation timbers available to add in flooding situations. We refurbished the pumps and motors. We had new space heaters, exhaust fans, lighting, and sump pumps added for flooding situations. New safety rails were added around the perimeter of the viewing area. New electronically controlled valves and/or actuators. A new backup generator, confinement fence, and a transfer switch. It's a little hard to see in that one, but this was a very critical element when you're having a flooding situation or a situation where you got power outages. That generator is going to keep our water flow happening. And this element in our water system is very critical in that if we ever hit a situation where the water table or the reservoir is low, we'll be able to pump the water to the city and never lose water to our city. So this was very critical. New exterior lighting, HVAC units, and exhaust systems. And I'd love to have Steve answer any questions that you had about the station because it was a very extensive project. So appreciate it. Staff does recommend approval, and Steve would be happy to answer any questions for you.
Mr. Reeves. Mr. Miller?
Yeah, I do want to reemphasize what Jeff said, and he said it very well. That this is our way to get water if the water levels at the lake go down. So this is very important for us. Usually the water flows just downhill from the lake to us, and then we treat it. But we've got backup plans, and we got backup plans to our backup plans. And I want you to know we keep that. We want to keep those things going and not forget about those things because you only need them when you need them, but we got to take care of them ahead of time. So I want to thank our staff, our engineers for helping us get this important project done.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Do we have any questions or any further discussion?
Move for approval. I second it.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 10, please.
Consider approval to purchase a new rear load 10.5 cubic yard sanitation truck in the amount of $215,910.50 from J&R Equipment via state contract, item number SW0197, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Rigney?
All right, thank you. So this is a 10.5 cubic yard trash truck, and what we put out on the streets right now is a 22 cubic yard trash truck. So this is about 45% of the size, and the important thing here is this does not require a CDL to drive. So as we struggle to find CDL employees, we look for creative solutions to allow all our CDL employees to do their current jobs without having to pull to sanitation. This allows us to utilize more of our workforce to help optimize picking up our daily sanitation routes. So this is not going to be the same style trash truck that you see on the road. This is going to be much smaller, and it'll be closer to the size of an ambulance, more so than a current trash truck. It is not an automated side load. It's a semi-automated rear load, similar to the old style that we had. And this will be utilized to pick up the dead-end routes and the handicap service throughout the city. This was approved at the purchasing committee earlier in the evening, and this is a budgeted item, and it did come in under our budget. So staff does recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Rigney. Do we have any questions?
Move for approval.
Second it.
Great job.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Carlyn Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Item number 10 passes. Item number 11, please.
Discuss a request from Muskogee Public Schools to change the westbound one-way street on Dennison Street between 9th and 11th Streets to an eastbound one-way street on Dennison Street from 9th and 11th Streets and take other necessary action.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes, we're going to ask that this item actually be passed to the 25th City Council meeting. This item is on the street committee for this coming Wednesday to discuss so they can give a recommendation to City Council. And it's basically just to change the direction of the one-way between 9th and 11th, which is currently westbound to eastbound, and that will allow for some more stacking. We intend to have a PowerPoint to show you exactly what we're talking about at the City Council meeting if it's approved by the street committee. So we just asked it be moved forward.
Okay.
So, Mr. Stewart, can I ask you a question? Is this street one way already?
This street is currently one way to the west, and what happens is it doesn't allow for traffic to stack. They actually have to back down 9th Street over to Court, and then they actually stack from Court Street and 9th all the way back to where the old YMCA used to be. By changing this direction, they'll be able to stack down Dennison and get them off of Court Street, which is a much more traveled street. And again, we'll try to have PowerPoints to show you how that's going to flow.
Thank you.
And this is at the request of the school district.
Yes, Dan Hall with the Muskogee Public Schools actually made this request and met Mr. Rigney and myself over there to explain the problem.
Thank you. Any further questions? So that ends item 11. We do have 2 citizens signed up to speak, so I want to call your name. Please come up and state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes. Lisa Hickman.
All right, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. I have some compliments to give out tonight. So usually people are hearing me complain, but I'd like to give out some compliments tonight. Muskogee's looking great. I gotta tell you, I don't know what's going on with the heat. That's been 100 degrees outside, but these people out here working and improving these roads, they're so smooth and so nice, and it's a beautiful thing to drive over these roads without tearing up your cars. So I'd like to give some compliments about the road improvements around here. I'd also like to give some compliments to the activities I've seen. I've seen the balloons, the big balloons that we had, the air show that was really nice with the balloons that one day for that activity then, and just all the new buildings that are coming up. So I don't know what's going on because it's been really hot outside and it's hard to work in this heat, but boy, I tell you, to see these roads so smooth, the new buildings coming up, just want to give everybody a compliment for doing such a great job. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next citizen signed up to speak, Marcia Wiseman. Please come up to the microphone, state your name. You'll have 3 minutes.
Marsha Wiseman, and I reside in Ward 2. So my general comments are around the finance agenda item on the Cox Communication franchise agreement. I wasn't aware we already had a franchise agreement with Cox. I don't like these franchise agreements or the way they're worded. Ultimately, these charges go back to the consumer, but in particular, what I didn't care for in the wording of this one is that even though the agenda item calls it web-based services, nowhere does it indicate IP or web-based services in the ordinance. It calls them cable services, and to the best of my knowledge, there's a distinction because, for instance, on Suddenlink, the city gets a franchise fee on cable services, but not web-based IP services. So, for instance, if you only have internet from them, they do not have to collect or pay the city the franchise fee on those. So it's a distinction that I think is important. I'm also familiar with a couple of other larger cities in Oklahoma that actually require the provider to present us at the city, here I go again, the city an annual report of the revenues that they have taken in. So right now, I think, the city kind of assumes that the money that they send us is accurate, and larger cities require them to send a certified statement of the number of subscribers and what they've paid us every year, and it seems like that might be beneficial to finance. The other thing that I didn't care for, that I found was missing, was there's no discussion in here about access to the government access channel or an education channel, which we usually require from any cable provider. And again, speaking of a couple of the other larger cities, Tulsa and Oklahoma City are the two, and I know we're nowhere close to that, but they also require, when these new communication companies are exercising franchise agreements, that if they come within so many feet of an institution of public learning, that they give them a free access. So they put the infrastructure in and give them monthly service for one TV, just as an added bonus for local education. So I think if not this one, the next one, I think we need to do maybe a little more diligence and require more from them. Other than having to collect the money and send it to us, they are not hurting from these franchise agreements. The cable operators aren't. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we adjourn, I'd like to point a personal privilege. Mr. Miller?
Yes. Council, I would like just to take this moment to acknowledge that this is the last meeting that Jennifer Sweezy will be in attendance as our Assistant City Manager. And I want to personally thank her for seeing the city through some pretty rough times, or rough times for me personally, and taking a leadership role and working with you as the council, going above and beyond. She's done above and beyond, I think, every day for 2.5 years. I'm very grateful for her service. I want to publicly acknowledge that as she moves on to another community and is going to bless them with her skills. I'd like to do that. And if you'll join me in a round of applause, and we can thank her.
Should we ask Ms. Sweezy if she has any comments?
Speech.
No speech. I would like to say it was a team effort last year, and I was happy to help cover things while Mr. Miller was gone. I've enjoyed working with all the staff here, so thank you.
Thank you. Well, with that, that adjourns tonight's meeting. Thank you.